on the corner. I'm posted on the corner.
Posted on the corner with yours truly, Incognito
and DJ Misses.
DJ Misses. Let's talk veteran.
Let's talk real OGs.
Let's talk father.
Let's talk about this man that been to the Freaknik before.
Hey, let's talk voice of Atlanta.
What is wrong with you?
Let's talk voice on the video game. Ryan Cameron in the studio.
Bing, bang, bing, bing, bing. Bing, bing, bing. What up?
Ryan King, what's happening, man?
How you feeling?
Man, we're great that you're here, man. It's an honor and a pleasure, and we appreciate you leading and feeding the way in this radio industry and beyond.
Hey, man, congratulations to you guys both for being trailblazers, as well as, you got to be consistent in this game. There's always a fluke, according to people, but y'all have been winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. Tomorrow. Yeah, y'all been winning. So congratulations to y'all.
I know, but congratulations to you in syndication.
Yeah!
What?
Yeah.
Who said that?
I did.
The news.
I mean, we are very excited to be. I feel like I'm like the Morgan Freeman of radio. You know what I'm saying? It's like, well, Dufresne, I can still do it if they give me a chance.
Come on now.
So here we are. We're gonna do what we need to do. I'm very excited about it.
So how did you know you had the golden voice? Did you know you wanted to get in this lane and do what you do?
Well, people ask me that, but my father his voice was unbelievable. And people say, well, was your dad in the radio? I said, no, he was in the vodka. And so that's why he never really flourished, because he had other things that he liked doing better than talking. That was drinking. But my dad had that tone, and my voice has really changed a lot since when I first got started. It was very high, but it's kind of evened out now. And when people make comments about the voice, I'm like, who you talking about? Because I don't really see it or hear it. But then I keep getting gigs, so I guess somebody likes it.
Right.
Sure. It made it all the way to a video game.
Oh yeah, I mean, I'm in the legends of NBA 2K. If you've done public address announcing for more than I think 10 seasons, then you're in the legends category. So if you're a Boston Celtics fan and you want to pick me as your PA announcer, or a Lakers fan, or whoever it is, any team in the NBA, but also the NFL, the division, where they wear the headset, I'm in that. It's been really good to get those little checks from just, being at the crib, saying what we got to say. And then we had a ballpark DJ app for all the little leaguers, because now that the Braves have won these championships, everybody wants to be, introduced. How tall are you?
5'1".
And what's your favorite number?
5.
So it'd be like, and now batting for the Posted on the Corner Little League, 5'1", number 5, DJ Misses. And all the little kids want to come out like that. They want to be like the Braves. So that has been very, very surprising that it's been that kind of appeal, but it's crazy. I mean, and I get like $1.79 a name.
Come on now.
But it might be who knows how many names in there.
Come on.
Yeah. So we're all right. We're doing all right.
So congratulations on Doughboy's Pizza.
Hey,
Come
man.
on now.
Ding, 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 ding. The Doughboy Pizza franchise, shout out to Chef Erica Barrett. She started the concept in Birmingham, Alabama, where she's from Alabama. And I rode the Amtrak down there. And people said, well, how did you find out? I rode the Amtrak down there. We went to Birmingham, and I was hungry. There's a food hall. And she said, I got this pizza concept. And I was like, what? And I said, I really got to go. She said, no, the pizza can be done in 3 minutes. And I was like, what? And so I got a pizza, ate it, fell in love with the first bite. Then I took it back to the hotel room, waited about 4 hours, because the best pizza is a pizza that you can eat cold.
Come on now.
Right?
Come on.
And so when I had the second bite, I was like, oh, I'm out of here. She was like, I've always thought about franchise. And I was like, Atlanta. She was like, let's do it. We ended up meeting of the minds, and we opened Super Bowl weekend.
Yes.
And we've been having a great time. Y'all have supported it. You've been out there. We've been getting lots of love.
Come on.
And we were looking for the second franchise here the next couple of days.
I know that's right. So tell us more about your foundation, the Ryan Cameron Foundation.
The foundation started in 2002. Because I was giving money. When I was a part-timer, I used to do a Ryan Cameron Celebrity Bowling Challenge. And see, this is when I was doing nice. I got to give you the background. I was working from 6 to 9, right? So the only people who I could date were waitresses and dancers. Yeah. So when we had the bowling challenge, I was like, when should I do it? It was from midnight to 4 a.m. So that's when it started. And of course, it was on Thanksgiving night. So we started doing it and raising money. And I did that for many, many years. But when we stopped it, it just became it was too many people. And there wasn't enough funds being raised because y'all know, what is the worst place you want to have a fight happen? A bowling alley.
Come on now.
People throwing bowling ball. I mean, people get really, really hurt. So I was like, I had to get away from that. But the foundation has been around, the Father-Daughter Dance, which you will be, the official DJ for this year on Father's Day. Is going to be at the Delta Flight Museum, sold out, more than 600 dads and daughters, along with the Ryan Cameron Leadership Academy, along with the health fair that we've done in South DeKalb Mall, along with, the teen driving challenge, things that we've been doing to teach people how to not drive while being impaired or texting. So it's always been a whole bunch of programs. I mean, we got people that have been Gate scholars who have gone all the way, because we started in 9th grade with the Leadership Academy. They go all the way to wherever they want to go, post-secondary, grad school, wherever they are, as long as they are part of the foundation and do a give back and volunteer. Then we give them a book stipend, we give them a business suit, we give them a laptop, we get them set up for success.
That's right.
Wow.
That's
the
dope.
Grady baby, Ryan Cameron's here, posted on the corner with yours truly, Incognito and DJ Misses. Take me to the very beginning. How did you get into radio, and where was your very first radio job?
I started out as, and this is what's funny. Somebody came up to me the other day. They was like, Dorito Man. There was a program, Doritos, and there's never been anything like this since. Doritos Goes Public was a campaign where every day for the entire summer, the Dorito person would go out and give away a prize once an hour, once a day, right? And so the person who was supposed to do it got fired. And I was already an intern up at the other radio station. So they was like, okay, who's going to do it? And they was like, you think Ryan can do it? No, I was like, I can do it. So imagine now, I'm not on at all. I don't have a part-time. I'm not doing nothing. But I was on the radio every day giving out prizes for 1 hour a day for 6 straight weeks, 7 days a week. It lifted my platform and my personality profile to the stratosphere. So after that, people just knew me. Like, if you really old school, then you know me as, don't start calling me Dorito Man Ryan Cameron. They were like, hey, Dorito Man. Yeah. they didn't call me Ryan Cameron. It's like, Dorito Man Ryan Cameron. And so that was my really first big gig. And it was funny because I was working at a video store. And when I quit, I said, I'm going to go be on the radio. And they was like, man, you don't need to quit. You making $12.5, boy. Yeah. You making $12.5. If you work here 3 more years, you'll be making $15. And I was like, $15,000 a year in 3 more years? I'm out.
Right.
Yeah.
And so I ended up having to go back and do a remote for another character that I did, where I had to do like an accent. And I went back to that same video store. And of course, everybody in there was like, damn, he said he was going to do it. Yeah, he did it. So, it's always a blessing to be able to do the same thing I got in trouble for in high school, Right. Because I was the class clown, but I was also the class president.
Yeah. So after you got your radio job, what was your first shift? What was your day part?
I was on from 6 to 9 in the PM. See, back then, and as we celebrate the 50th anniversary of hip-hop, rap music could not be played on radio stations in the mornings, in the middays, or in the afternoons. Wow. The only time you heard hip-hop music was at night. So I had the kind of shares you had right now, because anybody who was black, white, whatever, if they wanted to hear hip-hop music, they had to listen at night because you couldn't hear. The very first rap song I ever heard in the morning was Double Dutch Bus. And that was like a big, big deal to play that kind of song. But so all the kids, all the adults, everybody gravitated towards me. And then I hosted a show called A Fresh Party from 10 to midnight on Fridays. Me and Dangerous Darren Fears and Tommy Fix. So we had a mix show going on. And then on Saturday, I hosted another show that it spawned off Lil Jon and Paul, who made the Capleton remix, and that's the award, the tour, that Capleton. So they were mix show coordinators after me. So we had Saturdays on lock, but it all started off because nobody else could hear rap music. except on the weekends and at night.
That's 6 to 9.
Come on, man. What kind of shift is that?
That's like as soon as you get there, you like, and I catch y'all tomorrow.
See y'all later.
I mean, and plus it was a top 80 day, so you playing 8 songs, so you really wasn't doing nothing but 6 and then 7, and you out of there at so
wow.
It was the greatest shift ever. I don't know why they would add another hour on. So whoever did that, whatever.
You know, I'll be Googling you.
Yeah.
So your movie Jinx came up.
Yes. Yes.
Tell us about that, and where can we watch it? Because I've been trying to find it so I can watch it, so I can have some inside jokes.
I think I saw it on it might be on Tubi, or it might have been somebody on Amazon. But in Jinx, I played like 2 characters.
Yeah.
One was a pimp, and the other one was a comedian who was a radio guy, and it was one of those movies that You know how Kevin Hart talks about some of the movies that he did. Like, if you want a clown, then you can go get Jinx because it wasn't that good. I mean, I had fun playing the 2 characters.
You was proud of it then, though.
Yeah, but I mean, it didn't have no music.
Oh, wow.
So, because they ran out of money.
Yeah.
So imagine your favorite movie without no music. And so it just go from scene to scene. There's no music.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
Is there any truth in this movie though with the radio and the stand-up guy?
You was doing the stand-up though.
Yeah, it's hard like doing like Comic View and other comedy shows and being live. It's totally different than trying to be funny for screen, especially when you're doing a take after take after take after take. So again, it was one of those things where I think one of the reviews was like, the guy was like, Jinxed. Oh, man, this guy, Ryan, he is not funny in this movie at all. He is not good. Don't waste your time. And I was like, well, they might be right about that. But it's out there somewhere. I mean, some people have told me they really enjoyed it because of the 2 characters, because you would not know the first character from the second character. It was kind of like a Martin character had the gold teeth and the curl and wore like a space suit. I mean, now he was funny, but the other character,
Would you ever give us a Jinx part 2?
Who knows? Who knows? I mean, if I get the music, will you do the music?
I do the music.
If you do the music, then we can do it.
Let's do it.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure.
That's dope. So do you have any other dreams that you want to accomplish?
I mean, I always, when I left radio the first time, it was because of Yacht Dreams, and that became a hashtag that I used when I was leaving because, I used to take my kids down to Fisher Island, and Fisher Island is in Miami, but you have to take a ferry boat to get to Fisher Island. It is the #1 zip code for people who have wealth in the whole United States, that zip code. So everybody from Oprah to, Julio Iglesias to all of these big time famous people, race car drivers, they all have these houses on Fisher Island, but they used to have a hotel, and we would stay at the hotel with my family. And so there's a pizza place. I saw a picture. There's a pizza place that had a brick oven pizza, and you would sit in the and outside, and you could see where all the people's big yachts were parked. And so we would sit down there, and the last time I went down there, because now after COVID they closed it down because they said they don't want anybody that's not living there to come on the island, so the hotel is totally gone now. But I was sitting on the pier eating some pizza with my daughter, and I was like, you know what, Kai? I sit out here and I look at this pier and I be thinking, she's like, oh, yeah, I know, Dad. You want to get one of these boats one day. And I was like, hey, be quiet, Kai. I got Yacht Dreams.
Yeah.
And so I told that story on the radio when I got ready to leave, and it became a hashtag. I mean, it's like so many people have used that because they have yacht dreams. I mean, we all have dreams of being on a yacht and owning a yacht one day. So actually, Ludacris took me on a yacht for a trip, and I was on the yacht, and I was asking the lady about the boat, and she was like, you like this boat? I was like, yeah, man, I like this boat. She's like, how much do you think it costs? I said, I don't know. She said, what year do you think it is? I said, I don't know. She said, that's the difference between yachts and cars. You can tell an old school car, but you can't tell an old school yacht because they all look alike. She said, this yacht is from 1988. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, but you can't tell. And then she started looking at all these. She said, see all those holes around the boat? And she's pointing up to the ceiling. I was like, yeah. She said, this yacht used to be a stripper yacht. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, the people would come over from Russia and they would take all these prostitutes out and they would have these stripper parties and have all these people just out here dancing around. I was like, what? She's like, yeah, you probably could get this boat for around $400,000. And I was like, are you serious? So now I'm in my mind, I'm like, wow, this is actually possible that these yacht dreams can come true. So I'm thinking about it. She said, you think you want to get one? And she's like, set me up. And I'm like, yeah. She says, okay, well, you know, the reason that you're on this boat is because a yacht cannot just stay parked or it'll rot. It'll rot from sea rot. So it has to be out. It has to sail. You got to have somebody who's a captain. You got to have somebody who's going to keep all the maintenance. Somebody's going to keep it clean or whatever. She said, so I always tell people who want to buy a boat, you know, do this. What you need to do is rent it for a weekend, sell it wherever you want to go up and down, enjoy the food, enjoy the scenery, and then in 3 days, get the F off the yacht. And I was like, word.
Yacht dreams to reality.
Yeah, that's what it was, man.
Come on now.
I mean, she made me understand that everything that glitters ain't gold. And the fact that if you see these people out here and doing all these different things, it's a lot that goes with it. You know what I'm saying? That you may not ever think about because you haven't lived in that lane before. So now I took my family down there a couple of years ago, and we did the Bahamas. We went around and ate the best food and did a bonfire and swam with the dolphins and swam with the sharks. And 3 days later or 4 days later, we got off the boat. That's what we do.
Wow. So you done met a lot of people being in radio, but I got to ask you, what was one of the craziest times that you done had being in radio?
People always ask me who was a guest that I couldn't understand or didn't really like. We had John Amos from Good Times, the father, daddy on Good Times, and he didn't want to talk about Good Times. And we was like,
that's your
what are we going to talk about? And he want to talk about Coming to America.
Bruh.
And we was like, well,
so what
you want?
On?
So we was like, well, we don't want to talk. Like, what are we going to talk about? I mean, so that was the worst interview. But the best interview, we had Lionel Richie on, right? And I always tell personalities, you got to think of what is it that you can do that this person will not say no to. So Lionel Richie came on, and he was only supposed to be there for 20 minutes. And I was like, man, what could I do for Lionel Richie that'll make him stay? And I was like, I'm going to get a keyboard. And so I got one of those small keyboards, and he came on, and he stayed for like 2.5 hours, right? And so as we're talking, and I always say, if you're doing an interview, if the person forgets the microphone is there, you're going to find out something that, you know, you never knew. And so he was telling us that, you know, Lionel Richie is a majority real estate holder for Rodeo Drive in Beverly Hills. So everybody who goes to all those shops and Fendi and Louis, he owns all of that real estate. That's his money. So when he got divorced, his wife said that they asked her, have you ever had a limit? She was like, no, because he owns all of that. He owns all of that. So when he talked about that, he always talks about how, you know, you kind of can do stuff, and that's why I keep things really close to the vest. You wait until after it happens, and then you let everybody else react to it. Like, nobody even knew that he owned, that he lived above the Guggenheim Museum. Lionel Richie, this money he's making doing the Idol, it ain't nothing but play money.
I'm already knowing.
Cause come on, man. If you've been on to Beverly Hills, you've been on Rodeo Drive, that is the most expensive real estate in the country, and he owns most of it. Because back when it wasn't nothing, he was buying. They used to have a place called the Ivy, and him and Tina Turner was going to buy that. He owned that for a while, and he's just telling all these stories about how, you know, it's the one thing that God would never make any more of, and that's land. And while we see all these people in the business, they go out and they open up clubs and bars or whatever. You need to own the dirt. That's why every place that Home Depot goes, they own the dirt. Every place that McDonald's, they own the dirt. So we got to try to own the dirt so we can be like Lionel Richie and just be out here just spending that money. It don't even matter.
No limit.
No limit. Like P.
Ain't no LIMIT. Ryan Cameron is here, posted on the corner with yours truly, Incognito and DJ Misses.
Yes, sir.
In radio, what was your favorite shift that you have worked? You done mornings, afternoons, currently syndicated, by the way.
Hey.
And you done nights.
Probably now. Because well, I don't know. It all depends on what was going on in my life. When my kids were younger and I was doing afternoons, I got a chance to put them on the bus. And nothing could equal that because, walking your kid. And then when they got older and I was doing mornings, I got a chance to be there when the bus came or be in carpool. Like, those are the kind of things, like, all of my life moments have been kind of around my shift. Like, now, I mean, being able to do the syndicated thing and not staying here. Like, if I do right and if I, plan it out, then I can be home before the rush starts. And y'all know in this town.
Hello.
Come on, man. I mean, so
please.
I would think, doing afternoons is because it's a morning show in the afternoons, and it seems like there's always something that breaks during the afternoon drive. And people ask me, so can you go through all of the things that have happened in your career? Rodney King happened during my show. Tupac, Biggie. Like, for a lot of people, they can talk about knowing people, but I actually interviewed all these people. I got videos, and I remember when Pac had just gotten out of jail, and they put him on the cover of Vibe magazine with a straitjacket on. Everybody was trying to warn me. They was like, "Man, are you ready? He crazy. And I was like, I'm not really worried about that. And I was somewhere the other day, and they was like, "I haven't seen you since you brought Pac to CAU." I said, "Do you remember that?" And I was like, "Of course I remember that." We were doing a show, and the sound man was not right. And as a DJ, if the sound man ain't right, so
Everything gonna fall
it was
apart.
so many people in the gym. This was before they had Forbes Arena. It was so many people in the Morris Brown gym. I mean, it was like this, and Pac was like, "Man, if you don't get this sound right, we gonna burn this mother to the ground." The crowd was like, and I was like, no, Pac, no. You know what I'm saying? But it was. I had the birthday song then, and he wanted me to do the birthday song, and he was like, "Dude, play that birthday thing you do, man." He wanted me to let him record. He said they'll go platinum. So I had a CD. Now imagine you got 2,000 people in the gym. I got the CD. They did it like they passed it all the way back.
Whoa.
To the sound man. And then he played it, and then I did it on stage right there. But I'm saying, like, those are memories that people can never take away. And I'm like, when people ask me about my story, that's one of the things I talk about, because we were supposed to go to 112 one night, right? He was performing right here on Lucky Street before they had the lounge down there. And he was performing, and he was rapping, and he was doing some song. And this guy was like throwing up gang signs or whatever. So he's got a bottle of DP in his hand, and he's rapping, and the guy's like throwing up signs, and he's telling Pac's like, come closer, come closer, come. I can't hear what you're saying, but he's rapping, so he's not really saying that. And it's me, Big Boy, and 3 Stacks sitting on the table watching this. They'll tell you right now. And so as the guy is getting closer, Pac is on the stage. Everybody's out, but the stage is a floor. It's not a raised stage. And as a guy gets closer, it's a Dom Perignon bottle. And as he's rapping, he just throws a bottle, and it hits the guy in the head.
Oh, my God.
And knocks him out cold, right? But he never stopped rapping.
The whole time.
He never stopped rapping. And it's one of those things where he was still thugging, even though he was an entertainer. So he was entertaining and thugging at the same time.
What was the difference between Pac and Big? Because you interviewed both of them.
I mean, I think Pac just didn't care.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I got a thing in my RC Chronicles where we had left that spot. He's like, "Man, come to 112. And I was like, "Man," he said, "Man, come on, man, go to 112. So we in a limo, because right then, now everybody's got SUVs. But then everybody had limos. And it's an old limo driver. And the limo driver is stopping at every light. And we coming up West Peachtree. And he said, "Man, you had to believe this part." He was like, "Nigga, run these lights! Nigga, run these lights!"
I remember you told
he's
me
like, "Run these
that."
lights!"
Yeah.
And the old man's like, whatever. And then, so he won't run the lights. And so they kind of get into a little argument. And so right before they get ready to go around to 112, when it was on Cheshire Bridge, I make up something. We all had beepers in. I was like, "Oh, man, I just got a beep, man. I got this chick. I need to get out." He's like, "Man, come on, man." I was like, "Nah, man, let me go." So let me out. I wake up the next morning, and that was the night that he had shot the 2 undercover cops.
Wow.
So when he had an altercation, one of those things where the radio guy, I would have been with him, probably, but I had gotten out of the car. I mean, that seems like that's happened a couple of times. When I was in Vegas, when OJ got arrested, O.J. Simpson was came to my golf tournament, was a good friend of mine, and he was like, he got a call. We was all sitting around the pool, and he was like, "Hey man," he said, "they just called me, man. They got my stuff over this hotel." And people was like, "Yeah, man." He's like, "Man, I can't believe they got my stuff over here. I'm gonna go get my stuff back." And he's like, "Man, come on, Ryan, let's go." And I was like, "Nah, man, I got a flight to catch. I got a flight to catch, right?" So by the time I get to Atlanta, it's all over the news that he's gone in and gotten all his stuff back, and somebody had a gun. He doesn't know. So I call him. I'm like, "Yo," and he picks up the phone. He's like, "What happens in Vegas stays in Vegas." And I was like, "I don't think so." And shortly after that is when he got arrested, man, and that's how they ended up sending him back to jail.
Wow.
I was supposed to be with him.
Right. You done been up in some situations.
Come on now,
I always listen to my intuition, man. I'm the radio guy. I got to get out of there. I'm not doing that.
So if you could change one thing about the industry, what would it be?
I think, it's gotten to the point where so many people want to be, it's a microwave society. They don't realize that you have to pay dues. They have to, you have to study the craft, right? There's so many people that want to do what you do, but I've seen you work. I know that you really are concentrating. You're not just somebody who's saying, "You know what? I think I'm kind of cute. I can pull this off." You really are a DJ who is a real DJ. And I've seen how you do your thing. You have to be able to listen, right? You can never be too old to learn or never too young to learn. And I think what we've seen a lot of times is that people believe that they know everything. So the one thing that I would like to, say is like, what I've learned is, and I had a meeting today. We talked about this. Is like, everybody has to realize that we all have a job to do. And if you do your part, then everything will be all right. Just do what you're supposed to do and, let it fall the way it's supposed to fall. But a lot of times people try to skate and get by and they want an easy way out, and then they'll see that it don't work.
What do you think is the biggest misconception of Ryan Cameron?
The biggest misconception of me, I think that because we joke and play so much on the radio, that people think that I'm kind of unapproachable because they think it's going to end up being a Jones session or a Rankin session. But, I don't, that's not, I'm kind of like, I'm very, like, a lot of radio people don't like people in real life.
I'm not, that's true too.
Yeah. I mean, they don't really like people. So when they come across, like when people come in, they go, "Can we get a picture?" And I go, "Yeah." And they go, "Ooh," they're kind of surprised because there's other people that are on the radio that say no. No, as long as I'm not eating or with my family, we're cool. And even now with pizza, I'm eating. You can still come up and get a pizza. Just take it with me in front of the box. You know what I'm saying? But, I think that's probably the biggest misconception because we have so much fun that people think, "Oh, he going to try to get on me." Or I've had people that have said, "Oh, I saw you, but I ain't want to say nothing." And I'm like, "Why not?" Or I had people take a video and then post it. I was like, so that's kind of creepy. You know what I'm saying? You got your weirdo hat on.
Right.
You filming me and I don't know it. So other than that, man, I think, my body of work kind of speaks for itself. I've always been about the city and trying to promote positivity with my black community. And I try not to do anything that's going to bring us down.
Yes. Recently, I was on your social media page, and I saw this video where Jamie Foxx popped up at one of your parties.
Yeah.
Prayers are definitely up for Jamie Foxx. We're going to get to that story that I saw, but how important is health in this industry to you? I
mean, it's wealth. You know what I'm saying? Like, I had went to have a regular procedure done, and the procedure went absolutely fine. But I didn't realize that I had an infection, and I got a blood infection. And that blood infection, I looked at a video the other day. I was actually calling Hawks games in March, and I was sick and didn't know how sick I was. And I got sepsis, which is a blood infection. But sepsis, unlike other things, it gets worse every hour as opposed to every day. So every hour that was going by, I was getting sicker and sicker and sicker to the point where I went to the doctors and I was like crawling into the doctors. And I just like, and one thing about sepsis is if you ever feel like you have anything where you feel like you're about to die, you have to say to your doctor, "Hey, could it be sepsis?" So by the time that March went by and I went to St. Joseph Hospital on April 12th, I was in full septic shock, meaning that my organs had started to shut down. And this is all from a basic procedure, right? But I think it's 8 out of 10 of infections happen in the hospital.
There's a huge difference between car wreck attorneys and truck wreck attorneys. You can be a great car wreck attorney, but I bet you don't know anything about the trucking rules and regulations. Get the real experts at 1-800-TRUCK-WRECK. Expertise matters.
Let's talk your classical songs on air. In Atlanta, everybody always talk about, man, Ryan Cameron used to make these songs. We hear the record with Chris Tucker. You got the ones now on your show
Snoop
with
Dogg.
Pastor Troy. Snoop Dogg. Aaliyah. I mean, but
Lauryn Hill.
The birthday song,
Yeah.
and the Friday song that happens now. Take me into the mind of Ryan Cameron and the legacy of this
I've
song.
always been able to like write jingles. You know what I'm saying? But I'm not a litigious person, and I mean I don't sue people. I wrote the birthday song, and when I wrote it, I changed the first 2 lines because I didn't write it. I had heard somebody say it. And so when I went and got the birthday song copywritten, I had written it with those lines that I didn't write in it. And then I was sitting there in my lawyer's office and said, "Are you finished?" I'm going to set it off. And I was like, nah, let me erase these 2 lines. You want to know what the 2 lines were?
What?
Go shorty. It's your birthday.
Golly.
But I erased those because I didn't write them. You know what I'm saying? And people go, man, dude, because I mean, 50 heard me perform that. We went to a school together, so I know that's where he got it from. But you know, good things happen in time, and I don't want to be somebody who would sue somebody for something. But if it happened, yeah, I mean, the song went diamond. You know,
Just heard it last night.
you gonna hear it.
gonna
You
hear
know, but I mean, at that particular time, I just did not feel like I need to put, because I didn't write that. But I mean, I've written a lot of other stuff, so you know, it is what it is.
That's dope. So what else are you working on right now that you could tell us about?
Man, I got this podcast that's called Amplify Color, and I've given you some of the scripts about the history of radio, starting with everything from Petey Green to Big Boy to Charlemagne the God, and the fact that Atlanta was such a huge force in radio. There used to be a station down on Auburn Avenue when it was Sweet Auburn called WERD, right? So WERD was the very first black-owned radio station, right? So it was also in the Masonic Temple. So you had Madam C.J. Walker, who had her building, her office in there. Then you had the SCLC, and then below them was WERD. Now, here's an interesting tidbit, right? So you ever wonder why you see all those films and all the black people all were dressed up in all the marches or whatever? They always knew where to. You're like, man, how do they tell people to come here? It's because they were listening to the radio, which was WERD. But what people don't know is that Dr. King was below. His office was right above the WERD. So you got SCLC and WERD. So whenever Dr. King wanted to get the word out, he would take a broom or a handle and knock on the ceiling. Knock, 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 knock. And then the DJ, Jack Gibson, would lower the microphone down, and he would tell the people what was going on in civil rights and what was happening, right? So that's where the phrase "word up" came from. So they was like, hey, we need to get word up to the radio station what we're getting ready to do. So a lot of people don't know that's where word up came from. So imagine Dr. King knocking on the thing, and then they knew what was going on. Then they lowered the microphone down, and he was giving these messages out. Atlanta has been the historical place of so many different things, but that is one of the things that's going to be part of this whole Amplify Color series. I think the first one will air in May. It's on all the platforms, but it is going to be something from the very first radio to the first TV tube to all. I mean, it's everybody. That's Wendy Williams. It's everybody. And I got a chance to voice that. I think it's like 15 episodes. We started, it was supposed to be 2 months, and we're going on like the 9th month. Because it just keeps taking too long to do it. And I was telling them, I had to go there today. And I told the producer, I was like, look, I said, it's almost like they give you 2 weeks of community service and go pick up trash, but as you go in to pick up trash, you get into a fight on the highway, and then y'all fall in the street, and then 2 people get hit in an accident, and now you're in jail for 9 months. It was like, this is just going totally off the rails, but hopefully we'll be finished in a couple of days.
That's dope. So if you could go back in time and talk to young Ryan, what would you tell him?
Tape everything, archive everything, because it's like I had to turn down this Freaknik documentary, right? They wanted me to be on it, and I've never spoken about this, but it was one of those things where, and I actually called Mayor Bill Campbell yesterday, and we talked about it, and he was like, it's the one thing, even though you're very curious about it, it is not going to shed a good light on Atlanta and the black community because the way it ended
was bad.
It was very bad.
Yeah.
And, it was assault and rapes and people getting their clothes torn off. And so when they wanted me to sit down and be a part of it, I was talking to my publicist, and she said, Ryan, you got to look at something that you probably haven't thought of. She was like, do you feel like the check is big enough for you to be able to deal with the backlash? She said, because there's going to be backlash.
For sure.
There's going to be people who have something to say. And if you're a part of that, are you ready to deal with that? Is the check big enough? And I was like, I don't know. She said, if they offer you $50,000, what would you say? Would you take it? And I was like, I don't know. And she was like, see, that's the point. That means why you shouldn't do it.
Exactly.
Because if that doesn't make you go, ooh, just take the money, then it's obviously something that you feel like is in your character. Like, I got too many other stuff going on. I don't need to go backwards to something that, even though people are very curious about, they put up a post today asking people to send in their Freaknik footage, asking people to send in their pictures, which means they probably don't have a lot. Because I can't post a picture or put you in a documentary without you signing a release or something saying that you give me my permission. So obviously, I want to be a part of something that is going to, I've done so much to try to protect my brand and my career that the things that I got something that's going to be coming the next month. I'm shaking my head if you wonder it. They not going to be ready for this one. They not. This one right here is
through Ryan Cameron's eyes.
Let me tell you something. They not. It's one of those things that is so big that I only told my mama.
Come on now.
Shout out to mama. Mama.
Yeah, mama. But it's one of those. I wish I could tell everybody, but it's been. I got an email today. It was like, thank you for your patience. We know it's been a long time. Because I hate doing something, and then if it don't happen, they be like, "Hey, what happened to your little mixtape you supposed to be? What happened to your little what happened to your little show you supposed to be doing on TV?" Like I'm not one of those people. I like to watch people blow up my phone and everything else after they see it. It's like a syndication thing. We didn't talk about it; it just happened, and then all of a sudden everybody's like, "What? Where did that come from?" It's because we always working, we always grinding. I'm always talking, to y'all about. It's very, very important that as you continue to get more successful, that you remain the individuals that you are. I chose to kind of hang out and kind of mentor y'all because I like y'all's energy and y'all's spirit. I met a lot of jerks in this business, a lot of people who don't like people, and y'all are not those people. Y'all are very genuine, and you're good folks. Let me use this studio right here to do my show. A lot of people would have had a fit.
Never.
They'd have been up here cursing and scratching and cussing people out. But y'all have not done that because it is it's a family thing. I look at y'all like extended family members, and I hope we'll all be very successful together.
Yes, sir. DJ Misses.
Yes, sir.
Sports announcer, Hall of Fame broadcaster,
business owner,
our father, member of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated.
One time for the Noops.
Come on,
Ryan King, official president of the Kona.